Maple sugaring is the process from tree to table of collecting sap from sugar maple trees and cooking it down into syrup. The maple sugaring season is short, starting about 6 weeks after winter equinox and lasting just 3 to 5 weeks. The maple sugaring timeline is approximate. Its start is triggered by the appropriate weather, temperatures above freezing during the day and just below freezing overnight. This film documents all of the steps involved in making maple syrup. We'll meet a few of my friends along the way, hear a tale or two, and learn the ins and outs of maple sugaring according to the sugar daddies who run this sugaring operation. Once maple sugaring weather is upon us, the process begins with measuring trees. A tree can be tapped once it is 8 inches in diameter. Trees can be tapped again for each additional 8 inches in diameter. Most of the trees that we're dealing with are tapped up to 3 times. This is Kristen, my connection to the sugar daddies. Probably she'd be better off using something other than a yardstick to measure her trees, but it seems to get the job done. After drilling holes 1 to 1.5 inches deep, 3 to 3.5 feet above ground, spiles are hammered into the holes. Tubing is attached to the spiles, and that tubing drains into jugs that are dumped every other day. Trees at Kristen's collected sap from the trees already tapped and set off to collect sap from the sugar bush just south of Duncan Falls and right outside of Blue Rock State Forest. Here we find the sugar shack most of the 100-plus trees will collect sap from and eventually meet the fellows responsible for the whole operation. Even though we're not cooking sap yet, walking into the sugar shack is like walking into a steam room. All of the gas used to cook the sap into syrup is a byproduct of the oil well on the property. There is certainly no shortage of warmth in the 9x9 shack, which is set up with 3 stoves for boiling and all of the other equipment necessary to make syrup. Because the climb into the bush is quite steep, and because of the anticipated volume of sap to be collected, bench seat four-wheelers are used to get up the hill and carry the sap down. The barrel in the bed of the four-wheeler can hold 40 gallons of sap. On this particular day, we would gather almost 150 gallons. These are just a few of the trees that we will change out the jugs on. Most of these trees have 2 or 5 gallon jugs for sap collecting, depending on how many spiles each tree has. Some of the jugs have just a few inches of sap, some are almost full, and some are overflowing. As we change out the jugs, Steve, honorary sugar daddy, filters the sap into the holding container.
The trees with the yellow spots in them.
Yeah.
We had a fella up here that thought he knew everything about everything, helping us tap there one year. He wanted to see. I said, "Well, no, you're tapping the wrong trees." I said, "Only the yellow spots." I said, "Them's native Ohio sugar meat. Those are the only ones we tap." supposed to float to the top ring.
Okay.
Top red ring.
Got a ways to go yet?
Still sitting on the bottom.
Still sitting on the bottom? As Steve stirs the boiling sap, Sugar Daddy number 2, Harold, takes another hydrometer reading. The hydrometer should float between 66 and 68% density. Woohoo!
We're there.
We got a floater.
Right on the mark. It's going the wrong direction. Well, I'll shut them off. There. That ought to kill it. It's going backwards. It's not coming forward. I mean, how we're doing now. That's better. I think. We're ready.
As Dale readies the syrup, Harold begins to pull the jars from boiling water. We started boiling 112 gallons of sap the day before and ended up with about 2 gallons of syrup. That's a ratio of 56 gallons to 1, which falls within the typical range. The two fellows continue canning jars of syrup and amassing a stash to get them through the next year. Do you like the syrup? You do? Is it delicious?
No, I'm in Los Angeles.
Yeah? Alice, will you please tell me what you think of the syrup?
I don't like syrup.
You love the maple syrup?
No, I said I don't like the syrup.
All right.
So I don't have any syrup.
You don't have any syrup.
Hey,
You tell me about the syrup. Is it sweet? Yeah? What about you, Evie?
I like it.
You like it?
I like it.
You love it? You like that bacon too, don't you? These 2 jars of syrup represent grade A, the lighter syrup on the right, which will be sweeter than grade B, the darker syrup on the left, that will be less sweet. Can we actually taste a difference? What is it about the grade B?
I can't take you seriously.
Tell me, Andy.
Well, I'm not a super taster. Like I don't have like the palate for it, but it's less sweet, which I like.
Okay.
And also, I think it has more of a mineral-y taste.
Okay.
I would agree with that.
Which
I would too.
I'm a fan of minerals.
And vitamins.
And vitamins.
And vitamins. And Sarah liked the bee too.
I didn't taste the beer. I only tasted the beer. Pass her that.
You had to. You didn't eat any on your pancakes.
What's this one?
That's it. That's his beef, and that's.
Is this a
Messed it up.
Yeah, I mean, like sweet kind. You had that on your pancakes, didn't you?
No, I have whatever was in this picture.
Yeah. So taste both. There's a big difference.
This is the good stuff here.
No, that's according to Vermont standards or whatever.
Oh yeah, Vermont.
But Ohio.
This is the kind I had on my pancakes.
Beef.
And this lighter one, I like this kind better because it's in there.
Yeah.